Hi everybody, I'm just getting myself ready to throw here on the wheel. I've got some water here that I have been heating up on the stove. So I'm just going to give myself the luxury of a little warm water to throw with. So that's that. The first pots that I'm about to throw here in this new studio. First thing I'm going to do though is get out my nail clippers, make sure my talons are short, because I don't like throwing with long fingernails. They get in the way, don't they? And I don't bite my fingernails, but you know, occasionally they do break and then you have to kind of rip them off, don't you? And they need tidying up sometimes. So that's what I'm doing. A little bit of preparatory work. So sometimes I forget to do that, you know, I'm going down into a pot and get down into the bottom of the cylinder or something, and I'm aware, you know, that my fingernails are ploughing the bottom of the pot like a field. So I'm remembering this time to... Now what do I need? I need somewhere to put my clay, and I've got some balls of clay already weighed up. I'm going to put them... Buckets have uses, you know, not only for putting liquids in, but you can sit on them and you can put things on them when they're upside down. So I'm putting my bucket down there. I've got myself here, I don't know, 20, 18 or 20 lumps of clay all weighed up here for £1. Because when I haven't been doing much throwing, like I haven't hardly thrown many pots in the last couple of months actually, apart from going to the Clay Workers Guild of Illinois up in Woodstock. Hi everybody up there. And doing a 2-day workshop. I haven't actually thrown any pots because I've been sort of moving and shifting studio here and there. And anyway, I'm back here now, so and I'm getting this place slowly together. As you can see, the wood burning stove I just put in yesterday. It's a little bit makeshift because I still haven't got it quite right up there where the chimney goes out, but it's kicking out the heat. The only problem is these pipes here are chucking off a bit of a smell. So I've got the main door here actually at the back open because I don't want to breathe in the foul smell of that paint burning off the pipes. So, okay, without further ado, let's get down on the wheel head as usual. I'll just move the camera down there. Okay, let's just try a long shot for now. Well, not long, but bring it in a bit so you can just see my sort of general workstation there. As you can see, I want to show you, I don't even have a seat to sit on. Poor me, sob, sob, sob. I don't even have a proper seat. So I am using an upturned bucket because at the moment, I was before borrowing, and I want to show you these. I've ordered 5 drummer's stools, adjustable in height, and they should be coming in a few days' time. The wonders of the internet, online shopping. So they're coming. So I've got it up to about the right height, and that's comfortable. Before we begin this new session, I'm just going to go through I know I've done this before, but I'll do it again because it never hurts to repeat things. I want to go through my 5 tools, but very quickly, all right, that I've got here today to throw. All right, well, we could say there's more than 5. Okay, to start with, all right, a throwing stick, very important. Okay, I'm not going to elaborate. Make sure though that the angle here is not too sharp on the end. 45 degrees is about right. Okay, needle tool. Make sure that the needle is not too thick a needle, because a thick needle causes a lot of drag when you put it in to cut off. A finer, thinner needle tool is much better. Okay, number 2. Number 3, a cut-off wire. This is made out of nylon, about 20 pounds breaking strain. Ideally you want 12 inches between the toggles. Okay, you measure that for 12 inches. This one is in fact a little bit more than 12 inches. I made it too long. It's supposed to be 12 inches there, okay? And it helps if one of the toggles is bigger than the other. And the reason for that is the heavy end of the toggle. Now you can make the toggle out of a piece of clay on one end, and that makes it heavier than the other end. In this particular case they're much the same. One is slightly bigger but not big enough. So you can just take a little piece of clay and add it to one of the toggles like that, you see? Okay, and that gives you a heavier weighted end. Why do we want to weight the end? Because if you don't have a weighted end, inevitably, if you keep your wire here on the side of your throwing box, which is the best place to keep it, if one end is heavy, it always stays in the wheel, it never falls out on the floor. Okay? Alright, so number 3, sponge on a stick, just a regular chopstick, a zip tie and a piece of sponge. If you can get the piece of sponge not too big, most of the ones that I've seen for sale are clumping grate sponges on the end of great rods. It's not what you want. You want quite a nice little fine stick. A chopstick works very well, and a small piece of sponge, and you don't need to have a big piece. Okay, that's that. What else? Oh yeah, the leather. Small piece of chamois leather. You can go to a car place where they sell chamois leather for going over your car after you've washed it, and you can choose a piece that's not too fine and not too thick. Okay, and it feels like it's a nice texture to it. Sometimes it can be quite coarse. So choose yourself a nice smooth piece. In this particular instance, I've put red dots on it with a permanent ink marker, so it shows up easier and doesn't get lost so readily. Okay, if it happens to fall down into the tray here. Okay, so those are the 5 basic tools that we want to have here in our throwing space. Any other tools, get rid of. Okay, if you're not using them, or with the pot that you're involved in, then get rid of them. You don't want them there. They're just clutter, get in the way. There's 2 other tools I've got here. One is another piece of a chopstick, okay, which I'm going to use as a throwing gauge, and that is stuck in a lump of clay on the side of my wheel. I encourage you all to use a gauge as soon as you are able to competently throw a cylinder. You should be on to using a gauge. And the other very useful piece of equipment, call it a tool if you want, or call it a throwing aid, but I recommend to everybody you get yourself a small mirror. Alright, a small mirror about that size. and you just mount it in a piece of clay on the side of your wheel. And that helps you, if you put it in such a way that it enables you to look into the mirror, and that gives you the sideways profile view of the shape that you are making. It's a very useful little trick. Okay? We're not going to depend on the mirror for actually all our vision going into the mirror. We're looking at the pot here. We just refer to the mirror from time to time. Okay? So I encourage you to do that. Alright, those are our tools. Today, 26th of October 2010. Clay here, weighed up at £1. Got about 18 lumps. Just to get me back into the way of throwing. And usually, when I've been away from throwing, the first thing I'll throw when I come back to throwing is throw GP bowls. I know I've done them a million times before, but I'm going to do them again. Well, that's because I need to build up some stock. You see, I haven't got any pots, so I've got to start from scratch. So a making list is an important thing to have, and it may be helpful to have a sheet of paper and think what all of the things that you're going to need to make. Well, about the best bread and butter pot you could make is a GP bowl. When I say bread and butter, I mean bread and butter in terms of earning your bread and butter as a potter. As a survival pot, you could call it. You know, you want to have some survival pots. In other words, pots that you know that you can readily sell, that the public like, that they will buy. They'll not only buy one, they'll probably buy 6 at a time. So some survival pots, some bread and butter pots, GP bowls. So it's going to get going with them. Always the first one is. What I need is. These are usually. I usually throw these about 15.5 centimeters across, which is about 6 inches. And I'm wondering, one of the things I don't have is a ruler in inches. Where is? Okay, well. So as I'm going to start this throwing, I'm just going to make one GP bowl, maybe 2. I'm just going to bring the camera in for you just to see my hands. Some people complain that they're not seeing what my hands are doing, and so let's just get that in there like that. Okay. So a bowl shape to start with. Remember, with making bowls, you don't make flat bottoms. Somebody wrote to me the other day and said, oh, my instructor says to make a bowl, what you do is you make a cylinder first and then you turn it into a bowl. In other words, it ends up with a flat bottom, and it should have a round bottom. Bowls should have, unless you're making a flat bottom bowl, of course. This is a straightforward shape. You lift it up, okay, you roll the rim. You could say that's optional, rolling the rim. You don't have to roll the rim. My dad used to not roll the rims. In fact, it was my brother Johnny who enlightened me about rolled rims, and I've never gone back to making a GP bowl in any other way, because it helps to the rolled rim helps to keep the GP bowl round. It's also practical, gives it a robust lip. Okay, now with my stick I'm going to go in and take it right down to the root of the pot, okay? What do I mean by that? I mean right down to the wheel head. If you think of the pot as a plant, and think of the wheel head as the soil, well, you take it right down to the base of the plant, okay? The base of the... Now don't have your wheels spinning too fast. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to throw one good GP bowl. Now, if I had a measuring thing here, I'd measure this to make sure this is right. I haven't got one here in front of me, so I'm going to eyeball it. In other words, I'm going to guess it. I know it's roughly right from experience, okay? Alright, so leather it. Now, when you've got it right, you're going to take your gauge and you're going to put it in your lump of clay, and you're just going to put it in like that, so it gives you the width as well as the height up and down. Alright, taking my wire, going around it that way, cutting him off, wiping my hands, keep a nearby towel so you don't have to all the time dirty your apron by wiping your hands on your apron, because you don't want to do that, because the apron gets dirty enough as it is. So you don't want to put more dirt on it, more clay on it. So have a towel handy just to take off the worst of the clay, right? Next, we have here, I've got next to me a board. So we're going to lift it like that, you see? In other words, like that, and just lift it gently, and it'll come off, okay? I'll put them on the board. Let's do one more. So let's cone him up, cone up the clay, push him down again. Centre him right down to the wheel head. Going in now in the shape of a V, pulling the clay out, up and out, pretty much just against the side of my hand like that. Pushing in now with my fingers on the outside and pulling up and out. Now don't go too wide, okay? Get your height before your width. Golden rule, get your height before your width. With a bowl, that's what you want to do. Okay, so I'm going up. Going to roll that rim. Going to curl him under. Not worrying about trapping air. A lot of people write to me, oh, isn't it going to blow up in the kiln because you trapped air? I've never had a GP bowl blow up once. Now I'm taking him out to the gauge, up and out. You don't want to touch the gauge, because if you do, you'll leave an ugly mark. Some people use gauges that are like a feather or something that if it touches it, it doesn't hurt the pot. You want something that when the gauge touches the pot, it murders it, you know? And that teaches you something. That teaches you to keep away from the gauge. Don't touch it. So you've got to respect the gauge. If you've got it too soft and cushy, you'll hit the gauge and you'll think it won't matter. So here we are, the beginnings of a run of GP bowls for you folks. Okay, clean off a bit of that slurry and go to a towel, not your apron. Alright, now go like that. Lift him off, put him on the side. Okay, GP bowls. Now I've got to do more of these, and as I do the third one and the fourth one and the fifth one, so they will get better. And let's just bring the camera back out again. Yeah, as you